There we go, everyone. Oh, we got some in already there. Ballison, Allotment Man. Hello, Grown Local. Ian, how you doing? Amelia. Robin, how you doing? Now, Amelia's saying I would grow spring onions. So you must have been chatting before. Urban White Buffalo Farm. I've been emailing. Or somehow, how we get... Oh, through message. Urban White Buffalo Farm. How you doing, sir? From the USA as well. Now, just before we kind of get settled... Am I echoing? Everyone else can hear us normally, but I can hear still bloody echoing. I wonder if there's a switch on these picking things. So just let us know if I'm echoing. Just wait a few seconds, get things sorted. Get a few folks in here. That'll be fantastic. We are going to... What am I going to do? I'm going to put this out. This is a little, and I'll mention it again as well, to go over to Potty Mouth Garden Club on Patreon. This will be a podcast with no adverts or anything like that. And you can just kind of listen to it because we waffle on for about an hour. And that's quite a long time just to sit here, but there might be something nice that you miss. So Potty Mouth Garden Club, £2 a month, no adverts. Or when I get it sorted out, you can get it on iTunes, but there'll be a podcast as well, but there'll be adverts in that because I cannot stop that. And my bracelet's coming off there now. I must be losing a bit of weight. Right then, let's bring our guests in all together there. I just want to say hello. Actually, I was going to ring the thing. Hello, everyone. So we've got Stephen, hello. JB, and Audrey. Got Audrey back. I'm saying the boss is in the house. So we'll run the intro and then we'll say hello. There we go. Yes. So
brilliant.
I love it, to be honest. I'm really quite pleased with that. So hello, everyone. Welcome to the Potty Mouth Garden Club. Stephen, it's nice to have you back, sir. Is that it?
I had gone somewhere.
How are you doing?
I thought I was part of the furniture. Yeah, I'm fine.
You good? What? Anything you've been planting this week? Sowing this week.
Sowing? Oh, loads. I've done all my squashes, all my cucumbers, butternut squashes, courgettes, all the hot weather stuff. Oh, and my melons as well, all them. And a few brassicas and some lettuce. And there's something else as well. I've forgotten now. It's all on the video.
Bloody hell. Guess who we've got as well? The young lads here. How are you doing, JB? Naturally, JB. Thank you very much. Now, he did tell us you're not here next week, so I'm expecting 110% today from you.
I don't know what that looks like, but we'll give it a go.
Well, I'll tell you what, just before we start then, Jimmy, if I've got this lined up right, let's just show this picture there is my sunflowers for Ukraine. Have you sown any yet?
I've just sown them. Yeah, I sowed them earlier today.
So, never.
A little bit behind.
Never. And we'll have Audrey. Audrey, lovely to have you back, lass.
Wonderful to be back.
Oh, thank you very much. How has it been? Did you miss us?
Did I what?
Did you miss us?
Oh, I was in the chat. I didn't miss you at all.
Right. For something to read.
Oh, yeah. I showed up.
Lovely.
Anyway.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
What have you been sowing this week?
This week is going to be all my warm weather stuff. Pretty much what Steve had just sown yesterday, I will be doing this week. Cucumbers, sunflowers.
My cucumbers are about 4 foot tall.
Some squash, those kind of things. Oh, you know what? We'll just wait and see who ends up with the better ones.
I know. I just wait you see my next video. It's things that turn into a bloody nightmare, to be honest.
Yeah.
Disneyland.
So let's have a look then. What we've been sowing, what have we been planting? Is because I've been putting out some multi-sown, what you call them, beetroots. Anybody been putting any beetroot out?
Will
yet.
be tomorrow. Tomorrow I will be doing that because we're getting quite warm here now. So
So did you multi-sow yours, Audrey, then? Or
I did. And I have some that aren't. So I'm going to do a little, let's just see how they work.
because this is one of my topics today, is like, because I was just, when I was out the garden this morning, at 6 o'clock, I'll have you all know.
Wow.
Uh,
Impressive.
Liar, pants on fire.
That's twice in a row, just to get things done, to be honest. Audrey, how do you feel about multi-sowing then? Do you think it's a kind of a nice, because I know Charlie Dowden, goes on about
Oh,
it.
yeah.
But I tell you why I'm come from this. It's just because I read somewhere that, or someone was mentioning that it wasn't, for him or her, I can't remember now, wasn't as good as just single row beetroot, spaced nicely apart.
Well, I don't need beetroot that are the size of a softball. So I'm happy to have small, tender ones. So I don't mind doing that at all. But I am doing some that are just going to be in a single row. So I'm doing a little bit of both. And I do that with radish, too.
Why would you just do it? Do you expect to get a better crop from
Well,
one or the other?
I'm doing a different beet, and I want to see what it does.
Right.
It's like and I can't think of the name at the moment, but it's almost a blonde beet. So I want to see how big does it grow if I just grow them singly,
Right.
and how do they taste? Yeah. So that's why I'm doing them that way.
JB, what about you? Are you kind of one way or the other, or do you do a bit of mixing, matching, and?
Yeah, so I've done a bit of multi-sowing. So I did beetroot multi-sown last year, and that was just straight in the ground, no modules or anything. And they came out okay. It was the same thing. Like, they come out a little bit smaller, but that's kind of fine with beetroot, isn't it?
No, I was quite, when I read this, I was thinking, I wonder if we're all sometimes almost like blinkered with, Charlie Dowden and kind of the way his methods are, because it's a given that the work. But then it was just, the flip of the coin. Someone says, well, actually, I'm getting better results, just single row. And I guess a beetroot one's nice. It's a nice kind of size to just easily. It's not a carrot where you've got 30,000 in a square inch. Stephen, multi-sown or single row?
I've gone back to single row this year simply because, as the other two have just said, you get much smaller beets with the multi-sown, and that's great because you can pick the bigger ones off. But I want to harvest them. When I harvest it, I want to take the lot, and I want big ones so that I can boil them up and cut them up and make chutneys out of. So I don't want to be faffing on with smaller beets. If I want smaller beets, and what I'm doing this year is, I think JB just sort of hinted at it there, where you just sow a little bit thicker within a row, and you'll get much more beet to come up there, and they'll come up smaller. So I get the best of both worlds, and I just direct sow. I think I've put 3 rows in so far this year.
But is that, Steve, is that not like, say, if you don't go, say, down the multi-sow, because in multi-sow you have them in your little trays, you can have a little bit of heat, you can get like jump start. Is it not worth the jump start, or are you not bothered about the jump start?
Not really. Not really that bothered with the jump start, to be honest, because, I'm just not that bothered with it. There's so much other stuff to eat and coming out of the allotments anyway that I'm quite happy to wait, an extra couple of weeks, if that.
Well, I suppose I am as well. I forgot to mention, everybody, if you want a question asked, please pop it in the comments in capitals so that the old fella here can kind of see them there. Major the dog is asking, his peas are getting eaten by mice. Any advice?
Yeah, I'll take that one. Use the floating shelf like I do. Multi-sow them into modules or into a gutter. Wait for them to grow. I just planted out some peas the other day. They were 12 inches tall, straight out of a gutter. Pit there. The mice won't bother them at all now.
Is peas a kind of a favourite of mice, or will they just go for? Because I haven't got that much trouble with mice. Not that much, should I say? I know they're there, kicking around, but is peas like a piece de resistance? You know what I mean? Like kind of a special little
It's
treat
one of
for
them, yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's one of them. They'll also eat your beetroot as well. So when you get nibbled beetroot later in the season, people think it's slugs. It's not. It's mice and
Right.
rats as well. They'll have a go at them.
Well, now you've mentioned that, Stephen, because I thought it was. That's where I've been kind of with, like splatter gunning me nematodes everywhere. Maybe it might be like kind of the mice. You know what I mean? You never know. Bloody hell.
Well, they do say that where you've got rats, you don't have mice, and where you've got mice, you haven't got rats. So if you identify which pest you've got, you know you haven't got the
Well,
other.
I have seen rats, so who knows? But apparently, there's rats every 30 yards from where. You know what I mean? So.
Well, they reckon you're never more than 10 foot away from a rat.
Aye.
I also find that those rodents don't like, the wetting
A
tool
gun.
or the fabric that you make little tutus out for little girls.
Right.
It's just
I'm not familiar
netting.
with that, Audrey. I'm not familiar with that craft.
Well, anyway, they don't like that stuff. So I find if I'm not really quite sure what's going on with something, I just shove some of that fabric in front of those and see if that keeps them away. Because it sticks to their feet, or like it's uncomfortable for them to walk through, and they don't like chewing through it.
Right.
So that's just a standard one that I give it a shot and see what happens.
JB, would you ever consider wearing pink frilly nets on your garden? Is that something you're interested in? Is that a side of you we see?
Yeah, the mice would just be scared off at the sight of it.
I tell you who would look a little bit strange in a pink little dress.
I'll tell you something else. Back when I started gardening with my granddad, a thing we used to do with the peas to keep the mice off was actually soak them in paraffin. We'd soak them in paraffin for 2 days and then plant them, and the mice never touched them.
Right. Bloody hell, man. I've never
Is that
heard
safe?
of that.
Yeah.
Where have you pulled that one from? That would be that tip should be banned now. It's it was banned with the slug pellets last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor Ernie with the fag hanging out of his mouth doing his reading.
No eyebrows.
All his hair.
Graham Pearson is asking, first time growing garlic and the leaves have orange spots. Is this rust? Any tips to prevent this? Stephen.
I don't think.
Sorry, George. I'll ask Stephen.
I don't think you can prevent rust, can you?
I know it's coming on. Mine is coming. There's some coming on mine on the outside. Inside the polytunnel hasn't got any yet, but it's got the little, the telltale signs I think are coming. But I'm certainly not going to worry about it.
No, it just looks unattractive. It doesn't really, it doesn't harm the plants in any way. But yeah, that's definitely rust. There's orange pustules on the leaves.
Yep. So does it do? Is it like 100% nothing to worry? It won't damage it 100%, or will it kind of affect the growth?
Well, I mean, it's a blemish on the plant, so the plant isn't growing healthily. It's not growing to its full potential. But so something else could later in the season feasibly come in and attack the plant and then destroy it. But I've never really had any problems with rust, and I've never really used any preventions. I think some people spray it with something, but I've never really bothered with it. It's just there, and you just get on with it.
JB, have you got garlic in this year?
No, I gave up because of white rot.
Right, that's
garlic,
right. Well, I'm kind of doing this balancing act tightrope as well. You know what I mean? So, is it across your thing? Is there no way to cheat it for a year or something?
I'm fairly sure the onions seem a lot more resistant to it. And my leeks are fine. Leeks seem to be unaffected, and my onions last year they did okay. And I've sort of been I don't really know if it's the right thing to do, but I've been planting onions in different parts of the plot, which probably just spreading it. But I might find a bit of the plot where they do better.
Well, no, honestly, I mean, my method is if I've had like a good bed, I think, right, that one's a good one. And I know certain ones are crappy. I think eventually, because, you're mixing your compost each year, like putting it as topsoil. So eventually I think there's going to be no ones. But I think with onions, if I get it, we'll just eat them straight away. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of just get them chopped up. I just make it look nice. You know what I mean? I take all that crappy off the allotment so it still looks so I can go to like, look at that grew that. Little did they know it was like covered in kind of pus and rancid kind of juice dripping from it.
I cleaned it before I brought it home.
just so I look like I can actually grow something. Ben's asking, we'll get into some more questions, but a few questions there. I have some scorched yellowing leaves on his spinach. Should I cut them off or just leave them on? Audrey, spinach.
I'd cut them off. I think it keeps the plant healthier if you don't have any leaves that are just sapping energy from the plant that aren't going to contribute. So I would take them off. Anything that looks bad, I would take off.
It's funny when you said that, because I was thinking, I wonder if it's just the same as what we've been talking about, but you actually eat the leaves, so you don't want crappy leaves, really.
Right, and it does, the plant is still trying to keep it alive, even though it's not going to stay alive. So I'm always take it off and give the plant a better chance.
Yeah, Steve, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, exactly the same thing, really. If it's not contributing anything to the plant, there's no point in it being there and taking up resources. So, just get rid of it.
I'm just worried in case JB hasn't actually planted any spinach this year. Have you done that?
He hasn't planted anything, has he?
Are you just doing chilies this year?
Yeah, basically. No, I do have spinach. It's sown, but it's not germinated yet. So
right.
We'll see. My spinach does tend to just get slugged, though. But I try.
Do you do that in modules, or have you just gained just?
Yeah, so the first 2 years I grew it in little pots and modules, and then every time I transplanted it out, it just went and kind of gave up. And it's not recommended apparently to do that. So I'm giving it a go direct sowing this year. Do you guys transplant?
Funny enough, it's worked for me every time. Modules sown. But it's what Steve kind of mentioned. I think he'll probably mention it again now. Is just kind of batter it with water for that first 3 or 4 days a week. Give it like a water every day. Have you done multi-sown spinach, Steve, or not?
That's one thing I haven't actually put in. I tend to put that in towards the back end of autumn, really, because I've got so many salad leaves in the summer that I don't really need it. But towards the back end, and then I grow that variety Giant Winter, which is a brilliant one. I grow that one in the tunnel. But yeah, definitely, any new plants just need loads of water until the roots get out, and then hold right back on the water so that the roots go down looking for it.
Did you hear that top tip there? Just giving away nothing. I mean, no kind of. What it is, you know what I mean? And that's why I'm kind of harping. This show is fantastic. Little tips like that, because I wouldn't have held back. I would have watered it nicely, but then once a week, give it a little kind of treat. You know what I mean? Where who knew kind of hold back, and it in a way it's almost, Steve, like common sense. Let the roots go out and get water.
Well, that's it. If it's all wet on the top, Tony, then the roots haven't got to go anywhere to look for water. It's all there, and you get a weaker plant and it wobbles. So it's a good trick that to make sure it goes down looking for water. Then it'll find more nutrients as well. So.
Now, Stephen, last week on the show, I asked you, and I got a text off Steve, I think 20 minutes later, that says, "How's your carrots germinated, Stephen?" And on video, he hadn't actually checked. He went up the garden, and they have germinated. And I got a text 20 minutes later. Tony, they have germinated. So is everything looking good there with the carrots, Steve?
Yeah, they're coming on. They're slow, but they're all coming through. All the seeds I've sown outside are now showing through. So that's my parsnips, my turnips, radish, my beetroot. my carrots, they're all coming through. So I'm delighted with that.
Right. Well, I'm still. I think I did. Did I do mine last week? So I'm still waiting for the parsnips and the carrots. I'm going up every other day and just making sure that bed's nicely conditioned. You know, it's not drying out. It's not thing that. So I'm hoping. Do you know what I mean? I'm hoping.
Yeah,
Audrey, do you have anything going on? Any troubles germinating? Have you got carrots coming through like Steve? Have you got snow still? Because the last time I spoke to you, you had bloody snow.
Yeah, finally, I think the snow is over. Finally. But it's been raining like crazy. So I don't have carrots in yet. I don't have parsnips in. Uh, yeah, I think tomorrow is supposed to be clear. So I'm getting a lot of brassicas out into the garden and maybe some potatoes planted tomorrow as well. But yeah, it's been awful out there.
So
So,
when you're talking about brassicas there, you just, because I'm just, have you actually sown them and they're up now and you're going to just transplant them
yeah.
in?
Yes. I'm
Yeah.
just transplanting.
That's
Yeah.
what, funny enough, that's one of the things I was saying. I'm too busy. I haven't even been taking the camera. I'm just kind of have to get like 4 beds done with all my kind of the brassicas I want in out. So they're
Right.
done.
And I do see that Jane Kelly's in the chat.
Oh.
And I want to give a little plug to the Transatlantic Melon Challenge. So I'm getting those seeds in. I have a granddaughter coming this coming weekend, and we're going to plant them together for the Transatlantic Melon Challenge. So,
Right.
Did
Yeah.
you say, Steve, you've planted your melon?
Yeah, was it yesterday or the day before? I think I've sown mine in the greenhouse. Yeah.
What variety? Because I haven't got a melon. So is it too late for us to go and find a melon?
No, not at all. I use Hale's Best this year. I think this year and last year was Hale's Best. I tend to go for the cantaloupe melons myself.
Right. Are you taking Jane's challenge, the melon?
I don't like going entering challenges because generally that means I fail.
Well, actually, the one challenge we did, you bloody walked it. So, bloody,
Oh well, that was easy. It was against you.
your carrots, bloody hell. Mine, I tell you what, my what you call it, are looking fantastic. I'm just gonna ignore that you didn't say that. It's my show. I'll just ignore that comment. No, what me celeriac seems to be doing all right. You know what I mean? I kind of. We have John Goldthorpe is asking. Never heard of these, John. Anyone heard of walking onions?
Yes, I've tried those before. They're, excuse me, they're a bit of a waste of time because the onions are only this sort of size, and they just sprout from there, and then they grow
right.
again.
Is that them? Aye. Right.
I grew them a few years back just for fun.
What's the flavour like?
Never ate one. They were too small. I reckon by the time I'd peel it, I might have half a slice. There was nothing to them. They're tiny little things.
Right. Have you heard of them, JB?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I didn't realize they were so small, but I've not got it grown. But Egyptian.
Yeah, Egyptian.
I think they seem like a bit of an interest plant, a novelty, more than a cropping plant.
Audrey, we've got a question. This might be up your street there from, is it Ange Kovo? How to get more pumpkins and squash on one vine?
How to get more?
See, I would be knocking them off.
Yeah, it's usually how do you get a bigger one, but how do you get more? Well, I guess you grow a variety that says they're very prolific, but because of the size those vines take up, that's all going to be about variety, I think, and keeping it well watered, giving it a little fertilizer. But some it's kind of like corn. Some will say it's going to do 2 ears, and some will say the squash will produce 3 plants or 3 pumpkins. So you just got to go for a variety that is very prolific, if that's how you want to do it.
Audrey, just getting back to the melons then, because I think Ian
Yeah.
from Grown Local sent me a melon was it last year, Ian? Maybe I don't know.
Yes,
But it
I
didn't
remember
really.
that.
It went. I'll be honest. It went to the size of a cricket ball, not a very big cricket ball. You know what I mean? It was kind of, what am I doing wrong, and what can I do to get it like at least like say a small football?
Well, I think you
Prayer.
might. That went in very late, as I recall, because that went
Right.
in the corner of your polytunnel.
Yeah, that's right.
So that went in really late. I would get it in earlier, and if you want to get a bigger fruit, I take out any extra blossoms that are going to produce fruit and let it all pour into one, and then you might get one big melon or bigger.
And do you
melon.
have to kind of self-pollinate them? You know, like shake them and do anything like that, or?
Well, you can, like any other melon or squash, you can for sure do that. And I don't know, your doors are open a lot in there, don't you get
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of contact? So I would imagine you'd be okay, but you can sure self-pollinate it.
Mm-hmm.
But I probably wouldn't go for more than one or two if you're trying to get it to ripeness for a melon.
Uh-huh. Well, like you say, it's you see them in the shops, and I might just cheat and just buy one from a garden centre. I actually might just buy one from the supermarkets and just like, and put it in, like put it actually in the polytunnel. Look at that. Where's that come from?
Hot. You don't get as hot as we do.
Uh-huh.
So I think melons are a little more of a challenge for you for sure, just because of climate.
Waitrose, Alan.
Hey, there it is.
He was waiting.
Very good.
I didn't prompt him, JB. It was all natural. When should you plant your sweet corn? Where am I? Is asking. When should you plant your sweet corn outside? Now today I have just sown mine. Let's just see if I can put that on. There you go. Look at that. And while we're on here, but while I've got that picture on,
You know, Tony, they'll do better if you bury them a little bit.
Now, wait a minute, Audrey. This is something I'm going to startle you here. I've invented a new type of sowing seeds, right? Now, honestly, don't get it. I'm telling you, this is new. It's revolutionary. You put fill your thing up. Don't put your finger in where, like that silly owl bugger there puts his finger in and kind of washes, just press it down, put the seeds on and press it down. And then that's it. Do you know what I mean? So your seeds lie on the top and you press it down and that's it. Then you cover it up. You don't put your finger in the hole.
That's how the silly old bugger did it yesterday.
So I think I don't want to claim it, but I'm going to call it Tony's way of sowing seeds from now on. It's an industry standard. Put your seeds on the top and then just push them down, and you can push them down to the perfect where if you're wiggling your hole in.
Is this a new revelation for you, Tony?
It's Audrey. I've patented it. I've put my money where my mouth is. You can thank us later for that one.
Wow.
Well, I think it's time for Tony to move on to stage 2 gardening.
Well, I've still got yet to pull them radishes and get me certificates level 1, so I've got to wait for my level 1 certificate. But where am I? He's asking, Tony, when should you plant out sweet corn? So like the day I've just sown mine, Stephen, you're a sweet corn guru. When should you plant it out?
Well, I just sowed mine yesterday on my last video using the same patented method now used by Tony C. Smith, by the way. But they'll come up really, really quick. As soon as the root comes out of that seed, they'll grow an inch or two long within a day. They want to be in and out of those trays super quick. So probably within 2 weeks, mine will be planted out. But they'll go out with the hot box protection until those plants reach the lid. Then I'll take the lid off and let them carry on growing. So they can go out under protection this month.
Right. You see, I haven't really got. It's too. I'm just going to chance
That's level 3.
I know. See, that's why you're an advanced user. JB, have you sweet corn? Is there something you're going to try?
I wish. So, sweet corn is like my number one. I wish I could grow it on the plot, but I don't have enough space. So like when I prioritize all my crops to grow, I just don't quite have enough for sweet corn. And because you need to grow a relatively large amount for it to wind pollinate with each other, is that right? I hope that's right.
Yeah.
Then I just haven't been able to find the space for it, basically. But I'm at some point. I'm probably
because you're
going
not
to give
growing
up and
anything
just.
else, are you?
Oh, that's not true. That's not true.
Oh, he's on top. He's on top form.
I've had a cup of tea.
It's Cumbrian tea, yeah. It's the water straight off the fells, man. It's like it hasn't been kind of chlorinated or anything. It's still bloody raw. Audrey, what about you then over there in good old America? Sweet corn.
Well, I think, JB, you'd have enough for him to do some. You don't have to plant a lot of them. You just have to plant them in a square. So they get pollinated from any direction. And because I've grown like 9 and they've been beautiful. So, and that takes up what, a foot? I mean, that didn't take up much room at all. I plant things pretty
maybe
close.
I'll have to-
I'm just saying you could. But mine are all started and they're going to be going out as soon as my night times are over 50. I'll put them out, which might be another week or so.
Will the cold just knock them or will it kill them?
It depends how cold, but it would at least knock them, I think.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that to me is like a tomato. It's a warm weather plant.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
I'm just careful. I hold them back if I have to, just so they don't get the knock. Because they'll catch up. They'll still grow and you'll still get something. But yes, not worth knocking them.
Well, because mine are going to go as well, JB. Mine are going to go in the kind of probably my smallest bed, and I'm going to put them actually probably pretty close together as well. So maybe you could, if you got your finger out and started actually doing something in your garden.
So rude.
I know you could just, you've got the ideal prop there just to take the headphone and say, I'm out of here. I'm not putting up with this.
Yes,
I shot a weird rose for God's sake. No, would you not fancy it, JB?
I could give it a go. So the issue is, if I give over space to sweet corn, I've probably got to stop a different one of my space hogging like cucumbers, like squashes or cucumbers, which is doable, you know. But I didn't get any cucumbers last year, so I really want some this year because I love growing those. So I've got a few of those going in the greenhouse at the moment.
So
you could grow
sweet corn remains on the wish list.
What was that, Steve?
Sweet corn among your cucumbers.
Aye.
Interesting.
So you'd be
Do they
growing your
plant well
cucumbers in the greenhouse, did you say, JB?
No, they go out. They
Oh,
go out.
right,
I transplant
right.
them. They're an actual one. There's no space in the greenhouse for anything other than chili peppers.
Chilies, I know, you see. That's what it is. No, bite yourself, John. No, I was going to say, chuck them chilies out. Let me win the chili competition and then you can leave. Jenny's asking, Jenny Hewlett, can you freeze melon if you have a good harvest, particularly if you have too many? Audrey, that'll be another.
Yeah, I would not. I don't know what frozen melon would even end up tasting like. It's such a water. I mean, there's so much water inside a melon. I mean, you might end up with ice cubes, but I don't know that you could ever. I don't know that you could eat it again. You know. Yeah.
Let's ask the chef. He's gone. He's gone for dinner.
I wouldn't bother. There's too, as Audrey rightly says, there the water content's just far too high, and when you freeze something, the water's pushed out. When it defrosts, it draws it back in, and you'd just be left with a mush. Might be all right for smoothies, but I must admit, I'd rather just go and buy a fresh melon for that. I wouldn't try it.
Mm-hmm. While we're on, I just want to press my little button there. Just to don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That would be fantastic. Always a pleasure to see new folks. Any tips? Mark Townsend's asking. Any tips for dealing with fungus gnats in the polytunnel? Stephen?
I think they'd get cooked, wouldn't they?
Oh wait, well I'll go to JB then. What did you say, JB?
I think I could be wrong, but I think fungus gnats tend to need a kind of milder temperature, and I imagine in a polytunnel, as soon as the temperature gets up, they'll get cooked. I find the same thing is true with aphids. If once you get past kind of mid-June, the aphids stop becoming a problem in the greenhouse because it's just too hot for them. Certainly in my greenhouse, anyway. But
your greenhouse then, JB, do you, on like say the height of summer, have you got like doors, windows open? Do you leave that open all night, or do you shut every an evening, kind of going up shutting? Or
past about June, it does just tend to stay open. This year I've got an auto vent for the window that I've not installed yet. It's on the to-do list. I finally got some glass for my greenhouse, so yay. And putting an auto vent in the window, so that should just help a little bit if it does drop at night.
So tell us, because I'm a polytunnel through and through, never had a greenhouse. How does the auto vent work then? How does it?
It's just they're filled with a wax cylinder. So they say they're solar powered, but it's just the heat of the solar action expands and contracts the wax.
Oh, right.
It's got like a manual setup, so you just kind of there's a nut or a bolt to twist, and you set it up like that, and then it just relies on the heat of the sun.
Right.
Everyone raves about them. They're meant to be very good, so we'll see.
I've never heard. Stephen, have you got anything like that in your little?
Not on my greenhouse at home, but I have just bought a couple of similar to the auto vents. Are you talking about the louver vents, or is it an auto vent that you bought, JB?
This one's for the window, so it's just like a window hinge that opens and closes the top window.
Yeah, I've got a couple of those. I'm putting on the big tunnel this year. They're down there now, waiting for me to fit. But yeah, I've got a couple of those. They're going on to open them up. And as JB says, it's a wax cylinder, and as it heats up, it pushes a piston out, which pushes an actuator, which opens the window for you. So, yeah, they're brilliant things.
So, wait a minute. Am I missing something here? How are you fitting one of them to a polytunnel?
On my door.
Oh, right. So it'll just open the door?
No, I'm going to build a window inside one of the panels on the door.
Right.
On hinges.
Sorry, I just had a little minute there of lapse, and I just went off into another world there, and I just didn't know
just
if I was batting or balling.
Just stick to gates, Tony. That's enough.
When you said that, I'm thinking, a polytunnel? I've never heard that. Are you going to just cut like a little section out? the whole tunnel. Well, I've got a question here. William Long is asking, you think he planted burpless cucumber on March the 13th and potted them on last week in yogurt pots. Now they have flowered. He lives in Ayrshire. Should I pot them on? Plant indoors, still frosty. So I'll be nipping them flowers out, to be honest, if it was me.
Yes.
But
Yep.
Just nip them flowers out, keep them indoors.
Yeah, pot them on.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever the roots are coming out the bottom of a pot it on regardless. Just it's the plant's trying to get out the pot. The pot's too small, needs more nutrients. So put it in a bigger pot and just keep going up. I'm about to, tomorrow or the day after, my tomatoes will be potted on for a third time, and they're going into 6-inch pots then.
I'm having a nightmare with my bloody tomatoes. Anyway, that's another video.
Tomato comp this year then, Tom.
Hey, we've got loads of questions going on. Let's just see if I've got anything. I've got my phone here. If there's if I've got any good topics. That's what I was going to talk about, because I put a little post out. Volunteer. I think we've talked about this before. Kind of touched on it. Volunteer vegetables.
Right.
I'm now convinced. I'm a better grower. Leave it the harvest and the volunteers are way better than what I can produce. I got some spring onions the other day, which were just they must have come from last year. And they're just the size of your thumb. And like, you know, like I look and I mother and I cuddle all these other ones I'm trying to bring on myself, and they're like bloody pencils. Do you know what I mean? So what I'm asking is, Steve, would you, if you see a volunteer, are you just like rip it out, or do you give it a chance?
It depends where it is. If it's in a piece of ground what I want to use for something else, I'll rip it out. I don't worry too much about it. Otherwise, I'll just let things be. I mean, just this last week, I found a load of lupin and achillea seedlings, their flowers, in a bed that I was going to use. So I rescued them, potted them on, and they're in the polytunnel. They'll flower next year.
Mm-hmm.
But I did take them out, but rescue them.
What about you, JB? Are you a volunteer saver or a killer?
Yeah, generally I like to save. I picked up like I read Liz Zorab's book recently, which is really good. I definitely recommend. And one of her tips is to leave weeds, to get on a little bit so that you find out what you're actually weeding, because it's not always something that you want to get rid of.
You're telling us now. I went round the garden with a flamethrower last week, man, for God's sake. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hopefully there was no volunteers there. But generally I like to do that a little bit and see what's coming up. And exactly like Steve says, it depends where it is. This year I've got a bit of a problem in that I've got a lot of volunteer potatoes that are coming up, like all over the place. You know, I put in nice potato rows and it's just springing up left, right, and centre. And I don't know if they're going to be too good, but probably going to leave them.
I think even like potatoes in tubs, I get because they fall out when you kind of get you're shaking them out and getting them and harvesting them. There was in the potatoes section, there's still load there coming up, and it's like, they annoy us, I'll be honest. But any other volunteer, like a lettuce or a spring onions, or I'm thinking, I'm sure even in this little lane, and the council will probably come up and weed kill, but they might not now for money saving. But I'm sure there's a rapeseed coming. Do you know what I mean? It looks like a kind of little cabbagey first, but I'm sure it's going into rapeseed. And I was thinking, do you know what I mean? Just for me, my volunteers are stunning. Do you know what I mean? They're just like left alone, not messed on with me, and they're great. You know what I mean? So
didn't you have a lettuce under your bench last year or something?
Actually, I picked them out and kept them and planted them, and they were away. Do you know what I mean? Audrey, what about you? Are you a kind of volunteer saver or just
absolutely.
Like a tidy
absolutely.
garden?
Oh no, absolutely. I'll just move them to somewhere else. But yeah. If they are a seed and they want to grow, I'm going to do everything I can to help them do that. So
there you go.
They just may not be in the place I want them, but I'll move them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's definitely. There you go. Then there you go. So let's have a look there. Amanda Simpson is asking, all my tomatoes died off. Should I cheat and go to the garden centre, try again with seeds? Go to the garden centre, Amanda. Honestly.
Yeah, that's not cheating. That is not cheating. If you,
I mean, you've tried.
Yes, that is not cheating. Go for it. Yes.
What is it now? Is it May the 3rd?
Second.
Yeah.
Second. It's not
close.
Is it?
Yeah, second. Yeah.
Second. Oh, she's bloody right again.
Wow.
So it is a bit late, is it? You think to grow a seed now? Surely, Stephen.
No, you can still get away with it now if you wanted to. You knew I was going to say that anyway.
If you're living in bloody Italy, maybe. Surely not now, the northeast of England, man. You'll not be able to get a tomato now.
Because they're really going to get away quickly. I mean, I just showed you the atomic grape that you sent me and the seeds that Audrey sent me only a couple of weeks ago, and they're already 6 inches tall. They're going to catch up my other plants that were sown a couple of months earlier. They're racing away.
Mm-hmm. They go so quick, tomatoes.
Yeah,
I've just planted them on in 2 days. They're just new leaves all over the place. They're like rockets.
What variety are you growing, JB?
Oh, I've got a few. I actually wrote these down just in case because I can never remember. I think one is one that you grew, the Crimson Crush.
Yes.
You grown that, Tony?
Outside, I did. Really good, to be honest.
Nice.
Really brilliant.
I did fantastic, JB. I had the biggest crop ever. So we'll see when you put yours out, see what yours is like. Mine was fantastic. There was show quality. JB, show
Oh, very
quality.
good. I'll go back and check that. I think I must have picked that up from your videos because when I saw the seed, there was a. I knew that I'd seen it.
Someone mentioned it to me, to be honest, because it was like a tomato for outside grown, and it's like blight resistant, and it was lovely, to be honest. I don't know why I haven't grown them again, to be honest, but
Yeah, nice.
what else?
Yeah, I've
you
got a few others as well.
Oh yeah, we've wrote the
Gardener's
list. You might
Delight.
as well tell her.
Yeah, Gardener's Delight is like a classic, isn't it? Everyone kind of knows that. It seems a bit standard, like okay.
Waitrose own 500-gram pack.
Might as well just go to the co-op and get them.
Exactly. And then I've got two more which are a bit more interesting, and these were given to me by a friend actually. And I think they're seeds from like Portugal or something like that. But one is called the Montserrat, which I think is a big one, and another one is called the Pineapple, which I mentioned in a recent video, and a few people said that's really good. So yeah, exciting. All new varieties I've never done before. But we'll see.
And how big are they? Are you 6 inches, 12 inches?
They're tiny. They've got like their second set of tree leaves. I only planted them end of March. I was just like, I didn't have much space for them under the grow lights, so just really casual about tomatoes because, like Steve says, once they get the sun on them, they just explode. They catch up so quick.
So oops, my phone's on loud there. Will they go in the greenhouse or nothing?
Yeah.
All right.
I've got the space reserved for four tomato plants in the greenhouse, and they're going in one of those like self-watering planters that I use.
All right.
Yes. Quad grow.
And I've seen. Yeah, I love it. I really rate it.
It's cheating almost, isn't it? It's so like
it is.
Just you can relax. You can have a few. I've done the cucumbers in there, and they're just brilliant, to be honest. Allotment newbies asking, hello allotment newbie, nice to have you on again. Audrey keeps going over your face, these things. Best Brassica plants to go all in one bed. Stephen,
oh God!
If you had like a range of Brassica plants, which ones would you use to go in all in one bed?
Well, you'd want to have a mix to extend your season. So I would go with kale, a couple of kale, couple of Brussels sprouts, couple of Savoy cabbage, couple of summer cabbage, and some broccoli. So get a nice mix together that's going to last you right the way through the season. That's probably the best way of saying it.
Mm-hmm. And net it. You know what I mean? Because I planted my brassicas out there, and I had to leave 2 beds unattended. And I thought I went back, like I say, at 6 o'clock today. It was 6 o'clock yesterday and 6 o'clock this morning because I was thinking they'll get them, they'll hammer them. Do you know what I mean? But lucky enough they didn't. So pigeons just love, and they're there all around our allotments. As soon as you woke up on like a quiet morning, they're flapping away, and you're thinking, you little buggers, So. Was anything to add to that, Audrey, about brassicas?
No, I think Steve gave a good list there. Yeah, and I've become a fan of sprouting broccolis instead of growing the full head.
Mm-hmm.
I just have better luck with that, and you chop it up to eat it anyway. So I feel like it does some of the work for you.
I know. It's I love sprouting broccoli by now, but I want to grow, like, say, I guess it's like Calabrese, that kind of. But I've got one in called, is it Marathon? Does that ring a bell? Marathon or Mammoth? Marathon, I think. And I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
So you're trying to grow for a head. You're trying to grow for heads.
Mm-hmm, because I feel every time Calabrese, it just seems to like go to seed on me all the time. I can't see the.
Well, if you grow the sprouting kinds, even if they go to seed, you can eat them.
I've the garden's full of sprouting, or the 2 beds at this moment.
Well, I can't do purple sprouting because I can't overwinter, but I just grow sprouting green versions.
Right.
So I get it all summer, and it's wonderful.
Mind you, I put my sprouting broccoli. I suppose your temperature goes down colder than ours, but I put mine out.
Oh,
I saw it in June. You know what I mean?
Right, but you guys don't get anywhere near what we do.
Mm-hmm.
We go 0 Fahrenheit, which God knows what that is, Celsius. But I've seen a lot of gardeners over there go, "What's freezing out here?" It's, what is it?
It's not.
Yeah, and I'm like, really? Come on, you're close to zero. What are you talking about?
Anybody
So,
else?
yeah, we
Put a
get
little comment in, please, in capitals if you would like to get a little question. We've been going through some. That's fantastic. Let's have a look. Any tips for getting rid of mare's tail? Oh, Cameron Weil, you're on a hiding and nothing there. Mare's
Never
tail,
let
it'll
it-
just keep coming. Does it, Steve?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I've got it in my back garden at home here, and I've been battling with it for 3 or 4 years. The best thing I can say is to pull it up every time you see it. And what I tend to do is I sort of run my fingers down the stem and get my fingertips into the soil, grab as much of it as possible, and slowly pull it up, and you'll get a lot of root out. And if you use the old mantra, never let it see a Sunday, that way you'll keep on top of it.
Where's he pulled that one
like that.
from? that's from Grandad's encyclopedia. Then, hey, now our Stephen, never let it see a light on Sunday.
That's it.
What are the Steve? What's the roots like for mare's tail?
It can go down to about 30 foot, I'm led to believe. And
Bloody
it just
hell.
spread. It is
Wow.
mental. It's a crazy thing. They used to have it. It used to be a tree back in prehistoric times, and it would grow to about 12 foot thick. I think somebody once told me this tree, but that was related to the same plant and was just as bad then.
Wow.
But now it's just a weed. Weed killers. It's a glossy leaves on it. Weed killers can't penetrate it, and I've even heard of people who will tread on the leaves to break the leaves so the weed killer will get in, and then they'll wrap it in a plastic bag and spray weed killer in it. Still doesn't kill
Wow.
it.
Goodness.
It's really pernicious and horrible.
Cameron. Yeah, I think you're knackered there, lad. I think,
So just keep pulling it and never let it see a Sunday. That's the best thing, and you'll weaken it. And eventually you will get rid of it, although I am on sort of year 3 or year 4 or something, and I've still got it.
have you got it bad then, Steve, or not? Or
It's not too bad because I've weakened it over the years, but it's actually coming up through the cracks in the paving in my greenhouse, would you believe? So I've actually got it in my greenhouse as well.
right, man.
Next time I'm in doing some filming in there, I'll film it, make sure it goes onto a little clip on there.
Because I know allotment diary. Dan's got it in his allotment. Wherever that is. I think Yorkshire somewhere, and
On top of a mountain, I think.
And it just looks like if you let it go, it's like rife and it'll be away. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got to kind of keep on it all the time. Wow, what a nuisance.
Yeah, it is quite a nuisance.
James Copley is saying he's recently bought a nectarine tree. Do any of you have any tips for getting fruit? Audrey, is this something you might know about?
It is not. I have not one fruit tree. Nope.
Wow.
Wish I could.
No. You should eat your fruit, young lady.
I didn't say I didn't eat fruit. I said I don't grow it.
She shot right back at us there. Anybody got any tips for a nectarine tree? I've never.
It's on my list as something I want in the new tunnel at the back, but I haven't yet gone and bought one. And no, I've never grown one either, so I wouldn't have a clue.
So, Steve, you're really going to have a farm there, aren't you?
That's the idea, yeah.
Okay.
It's big. It's big enough. You know what I mean?
Oh, it is big enough.
I just like a bit of
look
variety.
See if I've got any notes. We've still got some questions. Put them in capitals. I'll go to my fancy notes.
I did see one where someone was asking, is it too late to sow carrots? And I think this is probably the perfect time to start sowing carrots.
All go now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Now, I guess
kind of a
that's where
few
they
weeks'
are.
time, like resow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep them going.
Yeah, resow when they never show up. weeks.
Yeah. Well, I still sow them in September for over the winter. I've got a cracking bed of carrots in the polytunnel right now that I sowed last September. I pulled some up today, and they're great big fat things. They're brilliant. I'll be pulling the rest of them this week, hopefully.
Were they protected from carrot root fly, Steve, or just in your polytunnel was good enough?
Just in the polytunnel. There is root fly damage on some of them. I noticed today when I was pulling them, but you can soon peel them out because they're such fat carrots. I'm not bothered if I lose a bit off them.
Mm-hmm. I did put down, I was taking a mick out of JB there about these sunflowers. When we're doing sunflowers, I'm not, no, JB, honestly, Audrey, are they like a kind of a temperamental thing as well? They don't like the cold, or can I just, because now they're up, say mine are up, as I showed, I think, which one picture, that one there, they're up that high. Can I put them in the polytunnel, or do I have to keep them like heated and under lights?
I'd keep them a little cared for until I think of those as like a tomato or a corn. I'm not putting it out till it's warm. It's a hot weather flower for sure. Right. Yeah, and when they go out warm, they shoot up like they grow so fast.
Well, they're still outside at that same position, so I'm gonna have to like put them in the hut, find some space there to put them in the bloody hole. JB, did you say you've sown them today?
Yeah, yesterday.
That's all right.
They're in the back garden.
So you're away next week though. So the weekend after, we should be having some results. Is that right?
It was one of those packets where there was only like 10 seeds in the packet as well. One of those stingy ones. So I was like, oh god,
every seed counts. Well, actually, Audrey, they're the ones you sent us over, which were like a lemon sunflower.
Oh, nice.
So nice. And I think there's enough to do maybe another tray. That tray is one of the big ones, Steve. Like they're probably like a nice big and the good size. So I'm hoping nice
equivalent to a sort of 3-inch pot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
those are nice.
Hoping they're all right.
But you do have some lovely varieties of sunflowers in America. I've seen. And I've been lusting after them for years. The Pro Cut series of sunflowers. They come in a multitude of colours. They're brilliant.
I'm growing way more sunflowers this year than is reasonable, but I don't care because they're so pretty.
Mm-hmm. I think I want to go full on and just emphasize the yellow.
I'm kind of squeezing them in wherever I can.
I just want to quickly. I'll just shoot there. I just want to Stan, look at Stan. Tony, I'll give you a melon plant. That'll do for me, Stan, lad. Cut out the middle, man. Don't have to waffle on about germination or anything like that. As long as I can beat JB and Steve, I don't mind. Have we got any more questions? Because how long we've been going? Nearly, it flies over. Right.
By the way, just while nobody's talking, can everyone have a look in the top left corner of Tony's picture? He's been decorating the setup there. Look, he's got a little fork and a little trowel up there on the wall.
Got them. Where do we get them from? Got them from a little kind of cute little shop round local, to be honest. But I've noticed. Have you noticed me telly? It's like flickering above it. I was on for an hour and a half trying to get that flicker. Now, I don't know if you can see this flicker or not, but I can see it.
Yeah,
just is it not the light? Is it the light that's on your board?
No, I've done all them testings.
Yeah, that's flickering too.
Yeah, I think it's to do with the hertz of the video. Like the hertz 60, 50. But I've tried all settings, and then I give up because I'm just getting frustrated going around in circles. Right. Urban White Buffalo Farm is saying he's going to start a banana melon. Now, I haven't got a clue what that is.
Big.
Are they?
Those are big. Yeah, those are big melons. I've never grown one, but they're huge.
There we go then.
You must have a lot of room because that's a big melon.
I've never heard of it.
Dee is really wanting help with her bay tree. I think that's a bay tree. It keeps dying. I've just seen a couple of questions come up about that.
Right.
I can't grow a bay tree here unless I bring it indoors. So after 15 years of pulling it in and pulling it out, I decided, I'll just buy bay leaves. So
I've
I
got one
know,
in the back. Yeah, it
I know
survived
you
winter.
can grow them. I can't. So I gave
We've
up. Sorry, Dee. I threw in the towel.
we've got one on our allotment that is absolutely huge. It must be 20, 30 feet tall now. And it's really annoying because it completely shades half my plot. I can't
Really?
imagine one
Oh,
dying. They seem indestructible. This one is anyway.
Oh yeah,
They're
very
not.
destructible.
They're not against a blinking chainsaw. They're not.
I know, I was going to say that.
Well,
Middle of the night.
Yeah.
Tara's asking, I want to try and avoid carrot root fly. What height do I need to raise a barrier to? Steve.
I would say a good couple of foot up because you want your carrots to grow up a good couple of foot, and then you want the covering over the top as well. I mean, there is this fallacy that they don't grow up, they don't fly above a foot and a half. But I've never seen a carrot fly with a tape measure. And if a bit of wind comes and lifts them up, that's it. They're over your barrier, and then your plants are infected. So you want the netting up the sides, a good 2 foot so the plants can grow inside, and then over the top as well.
Well, I'm hoping the bed I've got them in is actually high enough, but I'm just going to take Steve's advice there because it's good advice, and I'm still going to net it round, even though it's kind of
Yeah.
it's
Seal it off completely.
Do you see when you say seal it off? Do you do the roof as well, Steve?
Well, I've got the lids, haven't I, for my boxes? I've got the carrot boxes that I've got the mesh sides all around, and then I've got the lid, which has also got a mesh on it that goes on the top. So the rain can still get in to water them, but the flies can't. But even then, still one or two of them manage to get in every year. I never have a 100% clean harvest. They still get in somehow.
Mind you, see Charlie Dowden lifts his fleece there, pulls them up, and they're perfect. Do you know what I mean? It's like not a one on his carrots.
Well, I don't know how many takes that takes, but you never get a perfect harvest.
Now, hey, you behave yourself, eh?
Well, I mean, I could be wrong, but I've never ever seen a clean carrot harvest ever. You just don't. It just doesn't happen to my mind.
We don't get carrot root fly on our plot, and I don't know why. I can't germinate carrots, but everyone that I have managed to pull, it's been carrot root fly damage free.
So you've got no little kind of marks in the carrot, like that kind of little trace of black.
Oh, well, very good.
Wow.
I know, it's strange, isn't it? I mean, we've got quite a lot of allotments around as well, so they must be around. But maybe it's just because I'm so bad at growing them. They don't know where my plot is yet.
Has he grown any? Is he? It's probably easier just to go to somewhere. Or did you get carrot root fly over there? You must do, do you?
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading the comments. My mind just blanked out. I do not struggle with carrot root fly, no. But my raised beds are quite tall. So I don't know if that's, I mean, the shortest one is 30 inches high. So, and I had beautiful carrots last year. So, don't know.
Disneyland.
Yeah.
That's right. Put your ears on if you want to come garden here.
Now,
Someone,
iBeacon1 is asking, Audrey, this was just as you as well there. Could I grow sweet corn in just 4 in a square?
good question.
Yeah, sure you can.
There you go. See,
Absolutely.
JB straight on that, like kind of.
Absolutely. The only thing, depending on how windy it is around where the 4 are, you might want to take a little paintbrush and wiggle it in the stalks a little to make sure it gets germinated, but I don't think you'll have any trouble.
So you could even, because 4 is not many. Do you know what I mean? So you're still.
Exactly. No, I'm setting up some small beds for 2 little children that are kind of close to us, and they're going to be growing 4 popcorns in their beds, and they're just going to, and it's going to grow beautifully because I've done that before.
Joanne Patton, I think we asked this question last week as well. Do I need to harden off plants from home to greenhouse, like tomatoes and chilies? JB, how do you? Because chilies are a fickle thing, especially when I grow them. I kill them within like 30 minutes of taking them outside. How's your process from soft mother natured kind of coziness up to like brutal hard? You know what I mean? Like, how do you do that transition? Do you just wait?
Mine are. I tend to, because I don't grow them too early. One of the things is you don't want them getting too big too quick. So because I start mine kind of mid-Feb. So at this time I can still move them around the house easily. It's not like you've got massive pots. And for the first, I kind of harden them off over about 1 or 2 weeks, and I just put them outside in the day. And then I start leaving them out later into the night in the garden. So last night they were out there till about 11 o'clock, midnight, and then I brought them back in. So now they're getting on. They've sort of had the first week or two of just sun, and you know when it's starting to work because their leaves will darken and they thicken as well. They become a bit more leathery, so it's really visible. And you've got to, if you put them from a nice indoor, relatively low light or just a windowsill, straight into full sun all day, and then nighttime temperatures, it might not kill them, but they'll spend 2 or 3 weeks just kind of going, I don't know what to do, and not actually growing, and it just kind of sets plants back a little bit. I'm not too sure about tomatoes, so.
Well, I think you've just described what I did totally. You know what I mean? Just like straight up there, big frost, bang, lost a lot. So I tell you what, I'm not impatient, but I'm like, that does seem a little bit kind of hard work, Jay. But you know what I mean? Putting them in, it's 11 o'clock at night, right? Bring them in. I suppose that's what you've got to do to get a good chili, though. Is that right?
Well, you can sort of harden them off lazily. If you got like a week of really cloudy weather. Chili Chump did a video on this amazing chili grower YouTube channel.
Yes, I'm subscribed.
If you've got
he's great.
If you've got he's really, really good. And if you've got a week or two of really cloudy, kind of overcast weather this time of year, it's probably okay. The nighttime temperatures might still be a little bit, one to watch, but they won't get that horrible sunburn kind of sun shock. So that's one way to do it.
So is that sorry, I know we're going on about chilies there. It's just because it's all kind of not new to us, but kind of new to actually how to grow them. It's just as bad for a sun shock than a cold snap.
It's really counterintuitive, isn't it? I didn't really know this until relatively recently, but you've still got to warm chili peppers up quite slowly, especially if they've been in grow lights. And this year I had a fancy new grow light for the first time, and last year I had a piddly little T5 type thing. So this year it's got a dimmer on it, and each day I was turning it up a little bit more, and it got to about 50%. And the plants weren't growing that much, and I was like, "Oh, this is a bit, this is a bit weird." And then they started going a bit purple, and I realised that it's just way too much light for them at that early stage, because it's such a powerful light. They just need a bit more time to get up to speed, sort of thing.
See,
because it mimics the seasonal pattern of sun and the introduction of a season. Even in the hot climates, you're still going to have sun kind of changing its level of intensity as the season progresses. So yeah, it's silly. You think that they want 40 degrees Celsius and they're fine, they're really heat loving, but no, you do have to coddle them a little bit at the start for sure.
Steve, was that the same then for tomatoes as well, do you think? Because that's the first I've heard, like the sun damage, to be honest.
Yeah, it is. You are looking after a plant that's just grown and emerged from seed, and it's all kind of sappy and willowy. until it's got out there in the weather, until it's learned to resist wind because it's strengthened up, until it's got used to the sun that's out there, until it's got used to water constantly raining down on it if it's an outside tomato. It's all willowy and wispy and sappy. And I mean, I picked up some tomato plants today in the greenhouse to move them, and these things are about 2.5 foot tall, and the stem just bent right over and touched the bench. Once it wasn't being supported by the tomatoes that were around it, but they'll need some hardening off and some strengthening up before they go to get planted or before they get moved to my polytunnel, which is why I was moving them today to start that process off. So, yeah, they're just very wispy and willowy, and they need toughening up.
Yeah. It's a really good point about the wind as well, especially if you've got chili seedlings. It's a really good idea to have a fan on them if they're indoors.
Sorry, that's putting Audrey there. Go on, sorry, JB. I had Audrey on there. Audrey was doing your voice.
I was with you.
You've got loads of stuff growing indoors, right, Audrey? You must have to do a lot.
I do.
I think
almost. Yeah, I think almost everything has to be hardened off. Like I have a table on our deck, and I've had all my brassicas that are ready to go in. I have some onions there right now. Anything that's going in this week has been there in and out for about the last 10 days. Because I think they all do. And I do have fans going on the inside of the house. But, they just aren't as strong as they are once they get out in the natural situation. I mean, light is strong. Even when it's cloudy, the light is stronger. Winds blow, rain falls. I mean, I think everything does better with a little hardening. Even flowers, I think they do a little better.
Yeah, they do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How important then, Steve, in the gardening circle of life is hardening off?
It's very important. I mean, you've looked after your seeds, you've chosen them well, you've paid for them, you brought them home, planted, watered them, looked after them, potted them on. You're doing all this work with them, and then at that last second, you take them out of the house and go and plonk them in the ground and wonder why they die. So if you don't get this right, I mean, today I've moved my tomato plants, as I was saying, from one propagator, which is set at around 25 degrees, and I've put it onto a heat mat, which is set at around 16 degrees to lower the temperature. So those plants are slowly getting used to the outside, whilst outside in my polytunnel and at the plot, temperatures are warming up there. And when the two come together and meet, that's the time to plant them out or take them down to the allotment.
Man,
do you see what I did there?
All bloody good stuff. I think, what time have we got there? Literally 1 hour and 12 minutes. You think that's enough? That's a wrap, isn't it? I think we've done.
Can I ask one more question?
Look at him. You see his knee stopped him once he goes. He's away. Man.
I know.
He's up all night. These kids, he'd be gaming for bloody drinking bloody energy drinks. That's what it is. You've been on the energy drink.
Yeah. It's coming from John Burrows, and he's asked if he can grow sweet corn in 30-litre buckets or containers, which I'm interested because I've just got my hands on some 30-litre buckets. And if I could do sweet corn in those, I'd be a very happy boy.
Audrey?
I'd say why not? 30 liters, that's like 16 gallons. I mean, that's a big bucket. You could probably get, I don't know, 8 or 10 stalks in there.
Surely not.
That's wrong. That's 30 litres. That's about 5 gallons, isn't it?
Oh, 5 gallons. Okay, that's much smaller then. So you
the ones that people do potatoes in.
You could probably get 5 in there.
Mm-hmm.
I'd give it a shot for sure.
That's
no, wait, don't you guys grow a lot of potatoes in 30-liter buckets?
Yeah, that's what mine.
And that's a 5. I don't think that's more like 8 gallons maybe. I made of overs.
We need some handy charts and some.
We do.
You know what I mean? We come across this every week. We're stumbling. Someone needs. I need to kind of delegate this job. Audrey, this should be your job.
I know, because I'm the problem child here. my first thought is why not? First of all, I would sure give it a shot, but just make sure you plant them so that they can be fertilized from any direction. Because like in a square or in a pyramid or something that allows them to be. But I think there would be no reason that shouldn't work.
So, JB, just before then, so if you plant them in your tubs, would you be putting them in soil or just leaving them on like hard surface?
On some grass somewhere probably, or a bit of wood or something. I've got a lot of areas of the plot like that where I can't really use it for a bed, but I could stick a pot there for.
Why couldn't? That's what I've because there does seem, just jumping the gun here. There does seem a lot of grass on your plot. So why can't you just put the cardboard down and the compost on top and then start like that?
I'm converting a lot of it, so I am converting a lot of the paths into more beds, and I've got a strip at the back behind the orchards. But I think I'm going to use that for soft fruit. But I've got a big area next to the shed where just like all the wood and all this stuff goes, and I've got a little seating area. And like, who needs to sit down? You can grow stuff, and you can grow stuff there instead. So I'll probably convert that into a bit more of a growing area with pots.
So they'll be kind of going on like a hard surface almost. If it's going on the grass, the roots will not really kind of penetrate into the soil. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It'll be in those.
Yeah, no, I was just going to ask Steve then. Steve, that must mean you've got to just like water like hell and back.
What was that? Sorry, I was reading comments. I was doing an laundry.
He was sleeping. No.
So, JB, see, we're after the hour, and the old timers have to get to bed, man. So, JB's going to do, or is keen to, like, heard this where you can plant in tubs the sweet corn. They're going on, like, a hardish surface where maybe the roots won't go into the soil.
Right.
You must have to just, like, constantly water.
Yeah, until the water's coming out the bottom. So make sure it's coming out the bottom before you finish watering. Make sure it's soaked right through.
But
have you got water handy, JB, on your plot?
Yeah, we got. I don't like to use it as a rule, and we're on clay, so I rarely have to. But we have not had any rain all April, so my water butts are all dry from the gutters. So, yeah.
But don't you have to water heavily with anything that's in a container?
Yeah, I think so, generally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the same is true for raised beds as well, right?
Yeah,
raised beds are thirstier.
But I'm going from the angle. Sweet corn's one of them greedy ones that a bit like celeriac. You've got to just. So I'd be interested to actually find that out if it kind of works. And obviously, you're going to come across what Steve's saying. Like the wind topples them. They might get a bit wobbly especially if it gets a light and it doesn't get watered. That bucket's going to be light to like topple over. But it's definitely kind of. It'd be interesting to see if you can pull that off, JB. You youngins,
we'll give it a go.
Good dad.
It's badgers that are going to be the main problem, I think.
Oh shit! Right.
Go wild for corn, so I'll have to figure out some badger proofing. Put it on the roof of the shed or something.
Well, we have done now 1 hour 18 minutes, man. My back's getting sore.
Wow.
I need to take Voltarol
now.
Sorry, everyone.
So a big thank you to everyone in the chat. It's been lovely to have you there. So if we've missed your questions, please come back next week. That would be fantastic. We unfortunately have not got JB. He's off. I think he's got a gaming competition down, you know what I mean, like this. But we have.
There will be news on, have a look on Instagram and my YouTube community page because hopefully there'll be some news to share. It should be an exciting weekend.
Well, we have Eli coming on from Eli and Kate is stepping in for JB next week as well. So looking forward to that conversation. Two ladies, Stephen. We'll have to dress up there, you know what I mean? Be on our best behaviours. And
I was going to say, get your game on. Come on.
So, yes, it'll be fantastic. Looking forward to that.
We'll manage.
Right then. So, I will see everyone next week, apart from you, JB. Look after yourselves. Thank you for coming into the chat.
Thank you.
Cheers, everyone.
Take good care.
Yeah.
Doodle pip.